Hi, I'm Georgia. Welcome to the letter of the week, and today's letter is K.
Play, play, play along. Come on and play along. Play, play, play along. Come on and play along.
So this is the letter K. If you look at it from the side, your thumb is in the middle of your middle finger and your index finger points up. So this is the letter K, and K is a single sound consonant. It makes the sound of K. Okay, everybody make a letter K. K. So today we're going to do lots of words that start with the letter K. And our first word that we're going to do uses the letter K in the sign. And this would be the sign for king. So what do kings do? They wear a sash, right? So you're going to take that K and you're going to put it up to your opposite shoulder and come down to your waist. This is a sign for king. King, right? So let's use let's use king in a sentence. The king ruled his kingdom, which brings us to our next word. Okay, so kingdom is like a two-part sign. So you're going to make that sign for king. Then you're going to take one hand out and kind of circle around like this is the land. So this is the kingdom. So the king rules the kingdom. Now we had the sign back when we did the letter C for child. This would be child, and children would be multiple, like you're patting the tops of little heads. Well, the sign for kids would be the same as children. So you're going to take your hand and you're going to, just like you're tapping the heads of little children. So this would be the sign for the kids. So the kids were playing out in the yard. Also, when we did letter C, we did the sign for cat. Remember cat? Well, if we're talking about a kitten is a baby cat. So we're going to sign the sign for baby and cat. So the little orange kitten was sleeping on the chair. Another animal that starts with the letter K would be kangaroo. And what do kangaroos do? They have their little hands up here and they jump. So this would be the sign for kangaroo. Kangaroos live in Australia. And another animal that lives in Australia is the koala bear. Now, in American Sign Language, we really don't have a sign for koala bear, so we would have to spell it out. But in British Sign Language, they do. So you're going to make two Ks and cross your arms here. And you're going to tap it here, and then you're going to make the sign for bear. Remember bear? We did that in letter B. Okay, so this would be a koala bear. So the koala bears live in Australia with the kangaroos. For key, you make one flat hand and you're going to make, this is the letter X. So you're going to put that X in the middle of your hand and twist it just like you would if you were going to have to open a door with the key. And I always lose my keys, but eventually I find them. Okay, key. Now you hear that K sound? Remember, because it's a single sound consonant. Now, our next word, this is kind of fun to do. Karate. This is the sign for karate. Believe it or not, I took karate lessons with my son and daughter. And we learned how to kick. This is the sign for kick. So you put one hand out and the other hand comes up and bumps it. So the sign for kick, because we kick a lot when we do karate. I couldn't figure out how to draw a picture for this word. This is the word kind. And this is like the polite part of our body. So we're going to take one hand over our heart. We're going to put both hands up here. It's kind of over the heart area. And the back hand is going to go around the front hand. This is a sign for kind, because it's very kind to, we need to be kind to animals. We need to take care of them. So kind. The sign for kiss, you're going to touch your lips, and then you're going to come down to your other hand. Kind of in, this is a flattened O hand. So you're going to touch your lip here, your mouth, and then you're going to go down here. So this is a sign for kiss. I like to kiss my kids goodbye when they go to school. For kite, this is a kite. What do? We fly a kite. So you're going to make one hand out flat. You're going to take this index finger and you're going to go up. Like the kite, we're going to, when the wind is blowing, it's fun to go fly a kite. Now, here's a word, Klneex. Klneex is actually a brand, but we think of that as tissue. And what do we do with Klneex? We like blow our nose. This is a sign for Klneex. It would be the same sign for tissue. Okay, so you're going to just, so when I have to blow my nose, I go and get a Klneex. Ketchup. What do we do with ketchup? If he has it in a ketchup bottle, you hold the bottle and you tap it twice to get the ketchup out of the bottle. I like to put ketchup on my hamburger. And where do we find ketchup? We find it in the kitchen. And what do we do in the kitchen? We cook. Now the sign for kitchen and cook are the same signs. So you put one hand, put one hand out, you're going to touch it, and then you're going to flip it. Okay, so it's like you're cooking. You're cooking. So this is sign for kitchen. So now remember I said that K, the letter K was a single sound consonant and always sounds like K. Well, there are exceptions. Because when K is followed by the letter N, we don't even hear the K. It becomes silent. So knife, there's a knife, and it starts with the letter K. See, K-N-I-F-E. But you don't hear the K. It's not knife, it's knife. So the sign for knife is you're going to put one pointer finger out, the other pointer finger, and you're going to, so when I chop onions, I have to use a knife. Knife. Knock is another word that doesn't, where you can't hear that K, and the sign for knock looks like, gee, it looks like I'm knocking on the door, right? This is the sign for knock. So when I hear a knock on the door, I have to go answer it. And the sign for the word no is in I know how to sign no. You put all your fingers up to your head. If you just think it, I think it's just one finger. But when you know something, you put all your fingers up here. This is a sign for no. No. So now, do you know all of these signs? Well, you're going to get a chance to practice because in just a few seconds, I'm going to be telling you a story using all of these K signs, and you'll get a picture for the words this first time, and then we'll do the quiz and I'll tell it again, all right? So get ready. Okay, so now here's our story. Okay. Once upon a time, wanted to find out what the people in his were like. So he put on regular clothes and he wore a disguise so that the people wouldn't recognize him. And that morning he went out to visit his. In the park there was a little girl that was flying and a little boy was playing with a. There was a man there that just kept sneezing and sneezing, but luckily he had some so that he could blow his nose. There were a bunch of taking a lesson in those could really. He joined a bunch of families because to go into this exhibit of animals from Australia. So they went in and they saw lots of, and got hungry. So he went to a restaurant and ordered a hamburger with, he saw a chef that was cutting onions with a... He decided that the people were so fun and interesting that he was going to be having a party and invite them all to come. So he went back to the castle, but when he got there, he realized he had forgotten his... So he had to... on the door. The queen came down and let him in, and then she gave him a big... and they lived happily ever after. Okay, so now I'm going to tell the story again, but you're not going to have the little picture clues. So you ready? All right. Once upon a time, wanted to learn about his people in his... So he put on regular clothes and wore a disguise so that people wouldn't recognize him. And that morning he went out into his... In one of the parks, he saw a little girl that was flying and a little boy was playing with a... There was a man there that just kept sneezing, but fortunately he had some, so he could blow his nose. He saw a bunch of taking a lesson in, they could really... He joined in with a bunch of families. They were going to all see an exhibit down the street of animals from Australia. So they all went in and they saw some. Was hungry. So he went to a restaurant and he ordered a hamburger with... He saw a chef that was chopping onions with a very sharp... The king was so impressed by how all the people were and interesting, he decided he was going to be having a party and invite them all to come. So went back to his castle, and then he realized he'd forgotten his... So he had to on the door so that the queen, she came down and opened the door and gave him a big... And they lived happily ever after. Okay, that was the letter K. So how did you do? Well, I hope you all subscribe and do share us with your friends. And you can learn lots of letters here because next week we're going to do the letter L. This is a sign for letter. That's just a little clue here. Okay, jump start on L. So join us next week.
Play, play, play along. Come on and play along.